Okay. We Good afternoon, Miss Mahat.
Good
How are
afternoon.
you?
I'm good on yourself, Mr.
I'm
Mdwaba.
good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Long time. We've not talked for a long time.
We haven't, and it's not good. It's
It's not
COVID,
good.
then it's typhoid, but yeah, here we are.
Here
We
we
in
are. Here
Gauteng.
we are. Anyway, on a more serious thing on technology skills. Welcome again to Tech Power Talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's treat it as a casual conversation. Then it's going to be easier for us. I think we're going to wait for you to present and we listen to you. Then afterwards, we take it from there. Then we have a conversation making reference to your presentation or any other questions that we've prepared for you.
Sure. No, thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity for giving us a voice to talk to your audience. We really appreciate that. So let's share what we have to say to you. Basically, I will just start by introducing myself again, or rather,
Okay.
what I'm doing. I am the CEO of a company called NetCampus.
Mm-hmm.
We are a training solutions provider dealing with people who are in the world of work already or enabling people who are looking to build careers in the ICT sector. So we've been around for 20 years. We do have a large database of clients. We train more than 12,000 people in a year. And if you think about the unemployed people, it's even more. But really, our mission is to train people on lifelong learning solutions, one person at a time. And really, what that means is that we customize our solutions for clients. We make sure that we understand what their needs are and we put together a solution rather than just giving them a training schedule for them to choose the courses that we have. So it is a partnership rather than us selling to them. And that is our vision there. And lastly, in terms of our values, which we aim to, or rather, which we strive to live by, we have those important values. But one of the most important values that we have is compassion. You know, we are in a position where we can make a difference, and we are blessed to do that by touching lives and making sure that we link people to jobs. And so my colleagues understand this. That's what we live by. And yes, we are paid to do that. We are blessed to have that as you know, as one of our offerings. Um, we we've got 3 branches in South Africa. Our head office is in Centurion, next to the Gautrain there on West Avenue. And then we have another office in Fourways Design Quarters and another office in Cape Town in Belleville. We we have a number of colleagues that we work with. There's about 100 people that are in our employ at the moment. Half of those are trainers, technical trainers, very specialized in their areas, and they are accredited. We don't do any grade training, nor do we do fly-by-night, type of project. We are accredited with the highest and the mightiest in the industry, global companies. But when we come back to the topic at hand, I mean, we speaking about skills and how skills can actually, um, lead people into jobs. We do know that at the moment, the 70% of our youth are not in jobs at all. They are not in jobs, they are not in training or even skills or university or any other. So we have a large number of people who are really disillusioned, no hope. And I really truly believe that technology is the way that government can use to get people into jobs. If there's a number of stats that have come through that shows that companies are looking to recruit people with the right digital skills and in the 4IR space to fill in jobs. Those can be in the digital space, those can be technical jobs, but really, those are the skills. You can tell for yourself that if you do the actual right training and skills development, people can get into jobs. The challenges that we are having at the moment is that we are all brainwashing our children to go to university, which is good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But the issue is that sometimes what they do at university does not necessarily align to what the job market wants. And so that is where the challenge is. And so people like us come in right there to get the raw products that the universities and TVETs have produced, but match them to actual jobs by giving them the extra career or job related training to make it really, really relevant for the workplace, and so that they can be functional when they get to the workplace. And I'll get to that later. But that is the reality of our situation. Now, we are also faced with digital transformation for our and cloud skills, to affect the changing world of work. We all know that India, for instance, is very upfront, and they are more organized in terms of marshalling their workforce into jobs, as well as exporting skills into the rest of the world. And what they have done, they have, for instance, planned to export 2 million or train 2 million people in cloud skills, right? And that is going to be done until 2025. What that tells you is that there's definitely a need for those cloud skills. They have calculated and they have planned accordingly, and they are very good at exporting skills. We know in our banks and in some of the very strategic sectors, Indian people from India are managing those projects. So we can expect that if we don't jump on the bandwagon to make sure that our people and our youth take some of these cloud skills and accredit themselves, we will miss out on that opportunity. And especially because now you don't have to be at a particular place to perform a particular function. You can actually do the work from anywhere in the world. Information is sitting in the cloud. So what that means is that you can service people in America while you're here. You can service you can talk from anywhere in the world and do a job. So for me, it is a really, really an issue, and it's something that we can underline, mark, and we'll come back to it. Now, besides that, look, there's also digitization of jobs, even the normal jobs that we used to know of pharmacists, of people that, several jobs that are in there have been digitized. And even in the eye care industry, how you choose your glasses, those are no longer, are not necessarily done by people. Of course, there's those that those employers who have not picked up and transcended to use technology and digitization. But the point is that it is coming. It's not gonna wait for you. If you don't adopt it, your competitors are gonna be ahead of the curve, and they will take your lunch while you still, you're stuck to those old ways of doing things. So yeah, another issue, of course, then is that these are just some of the new cool tech jobs that are coming: avatar manager, cryptocurrency developer, and so on and so on. There's quite a few very, very interesting. I also read another article where in 2025, some of the jobs that we are likely to be affected are drivers. We're going to have car, what is it? Driverless cars, driverless buses. Those jobs, I don't know, we need to make a plan. What are those people going to do? There's 3G printing. What does it mean for our manufacturing companies who do manufacture cars, and those people who do that? Because if you can do it via 3G printing, 3D printing, then what about the rest of those people who've had years and years of experience? And what about the ones that we are still training them in those technologies? What's going to be the impact in the short term? So yeah, those are just some of the challenges that we need to think about. And people who are in my space and people who are in your space, as we impact on the younger generation who come into the sector, we probably need to match them to skills of the future and not what we were trained on, because that is totally irrelevant right now. So in one of, just as an example, one of the projects that we as NetCampus are doing is something that we call a cyber gap year, because we have identified the fact that with such projects, you can actually get the skills, and it's a short second the time that you can be linked to an employer. That is if you're looking for a job, so doing soft skills, of course, the soft skills are very important: creative thinking, innovative mind, and so on, customer care. Those are very important. And then we get into the cloud stuff, Azure or even AWS. And then we get into the cybersecurity stuff, which is network defender, and also, ethical hacking, which is another one, because there is a lot of hackings. We know in the cybersecurity space, we've noted a lot of banks, a lot of, SOEs have been hacked. And you need to hack yourself. You need to hack yourself first to make sure that other people cannot hack you, see if you're hackable or not. And so those are just some of the things that we do. But we also then provide data bundles, we provide a laptop, we match employers to learners, because we have a database of employers also who come knocking at our door to look for fresh skills that are very relevant to their space. Now, these are just some of our vendors that we are accredited with as NetCampus. Very varied. You will see most OEMs. There are those that we have stayed away from. But this is a very wide range, but also a very deep range, because we understand that some people are way advanced than others. And so, I will not go into each and every one of them, but they relate to cybersecurity, they relate to cloud, they relate to software development, coding, Linux, and so on and so on. So also service management and a very big portfolio of project management as well that we've got. Yeah, so those are the things. I just thought, I will give you just a brief, but basically what we're also able to do, we're also able to link parents of those kids who are interested in the projects that we run, because most of them are not necessarily government funded. But if a parent wants to fund their own child and they need a loan or something like that, we're able to link them to the funders. And that is our story. I mean, we've got more things that we can talk about, but for now, that is the end of
Right.
our presentation.
It's fine. You have covered a lot. I think it is time for us now to sit and have the conversation that we need to have.
Great.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very impressive. Your accreditation, very impressive. It is. You've got a comprehensive list of OEMs that you are accredited with, and I think you are ready to deal with the conversation that we have. And I'm gonna make a comment first. I've always known you in the digital space, training space, when digital was not fashionable to say digital. So I think your passion is admirable. You've been in this space for a long time. You are a leader in the space. You are a parent in the space. And that is lacking, and this is me not being sexist. Men versus women will lead and guide because they've got that thing inside them, that nurturing trait that they have, which men don't have. So for you, it is really in your makeup. Anyway.
Thank you. Coming from you, I believe it.
You've and I've made a comment before we went online. I was really impressed yesterday when I had a meeting with you and your staff, and one of the issues that needed to be covered was Tebucho, the entrepreneur, and Miss Mahatu as the CEO. Most people think that you need to drive people, but you need to lead people and show them and have a working, casual, and a formal relationship that has got no tension in it. And I picked up that yesterday. It was a very soft, comfortable discussion that we were having. Everyone giving input, not only the CEO has to talk.
Yeah, I always say the people that are surrounding me, to be quite honest, I'm not being humble or unnecessarily humble. In most cases, they know more than me, honestly. Otherwise, why would I even be needing them? They do. They are
Yeah.
specialists in their areas. They are well accomplished. They are very professional. They run this organization, and that's why we've managed to grow it in a very short space of time. We've managed to grow it to the size that we are. It is that it's that they understand that they have full ownership. Yeah, they are here for a reason. So that's my attitude, and that's what they do.
It's a good attitude. You can't be everything to everyone. You only got two hands. You can't be
Yeah.
everywhere. You can't want to, everything must come past you before it's done.
No.
So, there's International Women's Day coming. And, there's the theme for this year is hashtag break the bias. Or the stereotype. There's that thing in the industry that says men are more qualified, right or wrong. I think it's wrong than women, but I see NetCampus is driven in front by women.
Yes.
And that it proves that given an opportunity, women given an opportunity and being pulled into the main ecosystem or economic environment, we will have a much productive, a much efficient and effective engagement in the industry worldwide. I'm not talking about South Africa only. There's it's scary. In other countries where ICT or science in other countries, you're looking at 19, 18% women
Yeah.
participation. So that being said, by the way, we've got an International Women's Day webinar on the 8th of March. It's only sisters. I'll be the only brother that is going to be talking to them.
Well, thank you. Thanks for, but you've always had that soft touch to you, so it's okay. We will accept you.
You'll accept. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. So over the years, and you've covered it, you've done extremely well in nurturing and producing the skill that is needed. But it's not all about passion, Ms. Makatu.
Yeah.
There's something that drives you to have that passion for youngsters, for youth of our country, and hopefully very soon related countries or neighboring countries.
Yeah. Sure.
What really drives you on the developmental side? Why you see a need for the youth to be developed in the tech space?
Yeah. No, look, I mean, there's this whole argument, if you're spiritual, there's a
Yeah.
calling, and if it is, your things will be lined up that way. As you know, I was once in another organization that was in the
That's right.
same space,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and we grew that organization, we sold it, and I did go out of this industry. I did feel a bit left out, and not in my element when I was out of the skills development space. And I was then pulled back many years later by other people who wanted me to assist them in a consulting role. And when I did that, I started as a consultant for 7 months, consulting in NetCampus to basically look at the losses that were being made and how we can turn it around. I was very clear at that stage that I was not looking for a full-time job. I didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
go back into that space. But I was also very clear that I don't want to be employed in a sense. But as fate would have it, I did end up consulting, and then when that period ended, they asked me to stay on. I did stay on, and when there was a management, then when the mother company was bought out, I then also did a management buyout of NetCampus, and we have since owned it from then. So, as I say, that was never the plan, but God always has His way, and He knows what He wants us to do, where He wants us to end. But again, if I look at my career, I mean, I studied a BSc, right, in the sciences. I did genetics. I can't even remember the things that we were studying there. All of those things. But that's what I studied, and I got a job in the ICT space as a research analyst. Went into skills research, and that's how I was introduced into skills development itself. And if I really look at it, I've been happiest in when I develop people and when I see people getting into jobs. If I think about how many people that we have developed, I can't even count. There's so many of them that are in jobs. Some are now very senior in their IT positions, and now they are clients. If I go into some of the departments or some of the companies, I always get greeted. I have no idea who they are. Some have changed shape and they're older with mustaches and whatever. But it has always been a fulfilling thing for me to make a difference, especially when they get into a job and when they mature. And I also inculcate them to pay it forward by either making sure that other people have access to information. They need to guide their brothers, their neighbors, and so on, to make sure that we all pull each other up. There is no way we will rise if we don't lift each other. And I do have a line that I always use, that we rise by lifting each other, And so that is what I'm happy with.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's me.
Yeah.
I'm
Well
just
said.
happy there. Yeah.
Well said. We can conclude, because you started by saying if a person is religious, God puts you in a space where you should be in. So you've been anointed in the developmental space.
I believe so. Absolutely.
Amen. Amen. Amen, Pastor Patu. Amen.
Amen.
On and look, and one of the things, and I was thinking, the industry is changing so quickly. All over the world, jobs are changing.
Yes.
This is taking place at a very rapid rate pace, basically. The discrepancy between the skills people have and those needed for the jobs in the digital world is one of the most critical issues in the workplace, and you've touched on this. And there are those people that are sitting in jobs now. We've made an example about drivers that are going to be jobless because of the cars are going to think and drive themselves. What's your take on upskilling?
Look, I think upskilling is a key to companies' success. Let's put aside the jobs and new jobs, but let's just talk about productivity and increasing profitability for an organization. If your people are not up to scratch in terms of their skills levels, they are likely to repeat the job, which is wastage. They are likely to get it wrong. And if they are servicing the client, they will annoy the client. And they are likely to produce sub-minimum or, low quality work. What does it mean for you, for your reputation, and for repeat business? It is a problem. If it's in the IT space, there's security issues. If it's in the IT space, there is just, efficiency, bringing efficiency into every other person's job. And so it's not even an IT thing or an IT person's thing or an IT manager or IT people, but it's just across the board. Those people that are in a job really need to know what they're doing and need to meet the expectation of their leaders. The problem is that sometimes there's an expectation, but people have not been trained enough to understand first that expectation, but the skills to meet that expectation. So yeah, that is it is very key. The issue, and it is very unfortunate, is that when companies go through challenges, the first thing that goes out of the window in terms of budget is training. We know this. When COVID hit, most companies will just cancel any type of training. So we really did not have business for a lot of business for the last 2 years, except for very loyal clients, and those the clients that really do take training seriously continued. But if you also think about it, the world of work is changing. The world is changing. For instance, 2 years ago, we had to go into the office to work. COVID hit, we really did not have to be in the office. And while we used to have tools before, but our mindset was not ready. So even managers and owners of companies were still requiring people to come. Why? It's very unnecessary because you're wasting time on the road.
I agree with you.
And you're wasting time you're wasting money, and so on and so on. And it has been proven that if you are at home, if the systems are in place to manage, people are more productive. So look, and then the tools that will make those people to be productive are important. Your MS Teams, your what is the other ones, Zoom, and so on and so on. People need to know those things to be productive. So those are new tools. People need to adopt them to increase their productivity. And so we can't run away from skills development. It's a way of life because technology changes all the time.
But with the changes that are happening, jobs changing, functions changing, the type of skill that is needed, would you say it is a problem for businesses, individuals, governments, or policymakers? Is it in the interest, and while you're answering it, is it in the interest of all stakeholders to collaborate and work together to solve this issue? Or magazibonele, you're an individual, your skill is not needed anymore, you need to reskill yourself, upskill yourself?
Yeah, no, I do think this is not going to be solved by one group, by one person or one group of people. The thing is, we need each other here. There is no way. So if you are government, you are likely not to know what we know. We're not being arrogant. But we've been in the streets of corporate. We know. Because we train them all the time, they are likely, we know what the trends are. We know what they demand. We know what they want. And so we can tell when the market is moving, right? And so if you are government, and yes, you have the budget, you've got the pockets, and you are dictating policy, but your policy is not talking to industry and what industry needs, you're likely to then produce skills that are not absorbed, hence the high unemployment rate. You've got millions and millions of unemployed graduates. It talks to that. The fact that there's just no feedback loop in terms of what employers really need and what people who are producing those skills are producing. And I'm not bashing formal institutions, or when I say formal, I mean like universities. But if you think about, if you think about their structure, they have a senate, they have a committee or that sorts out the curriculum, and then perhaps that a curriculum, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how they do it, but I'm thinking because they are also funded by government, who then they must account. In the meantime, technology changes. I doubt if they will be flexible and agile enough to change mid-term and say, no, we're no longer doing what is it, Azure, we're now doing something else. I doubt if they will have the flexibility to have that. And so by the time they are ready and they have maybe they're able to motivate for changes, other things have happened. So there is a need for collaboration, and it's perfect that those type of partners do what they need to do, because also in our sector, the problem in our sector is that there's a lot of fly by night. Everybody is a training institution, as you might know. A lot of people may see an opportunity to make a quick buck. So yes, there's a need for regulation, but there's also a need for collaboration, and take the strengths from each sectors or markets and combine it to solve our problems. And I think also the legislators and the leaders in the space really need to be people who are very much aware of what is happening.
Look,
If they are not, they must surround themselves with people who are in the
with
industry. Otherwise,
yes,
they won't get it.
I agree with you. They need to build an ecosystem that is supportive.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people, and I'm happy you've highlighted it because it was one of the things that that were in my head. There's a lot of fly by nights guys that are registered their companies as cleaning companies, guys that have registered as security companies. Overnight, they are training companies. Okay,
Yep.
the guy is a trainer, but the guy never even attended a single course post matric himself.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I think we need to lobby. I think there needs to be lobbying to regulate the training space because if it's left the way it is, it's to the detriment of the child. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're not doing anyone a favor, but we're killing our own African children.
Yes.
While we're talking about children, do you find, I'm not sure how you're going to handle this one, do you find the curriculum for for high school, basically grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, that it prepares the youth for the IT or digital space?
Yeah. No, look, I think it depends if you have the money or not, first of all. So we see more in the private education space, more technology courses being introduced, a lot of coding, a lot of
Mhm.
development. But there is also I think, people are more likely to do that part or that side of technology. And
Yeah.
when you then go to the public schools, I
Rural
don't
and
know,
very rural.
rural, peri-urban, and peri-rural, and those, I haven't seen it. And we have seen a lot of corporate CSIs donating through various CSI programs. They do donate, they donating a lot of machines and so on, but they also turn into white elephants precisely because sometimes there is no skill to maintain those pieces, but secondly to skill up people who are going to be using those pieces. So if they have a lab, an IT lab, obviously the teachers must be skilled and computer literate, but also the children must be able to access and must, so it's a whole value chain. And so in terms of then maintenance, you also need technical skills to assist if it breaks down and so on. So that is where the issue is. So it depends which world you're coming from. In the
Mm.
world of some of the privileged children, definitely, but in the world of most children in South Africa, definitely not. The other issue, obviously, is an issue of access to data.
Mhm.
It is an issue. It is a real issue because you must be able to interact with the world when you are being skilled, right? Or when you are getting certain skills and courses. And it is still a big issue. Data is very expensive, and that's why we, in our case, we in all our training, we've built data costs into our training courses,
Okay.
because
Mm.
we don't want to have that conversation. We don't want to have the conversation that I did not have data. The only problem is that, again, you do that and then they do Netflix and do social media the whole night, and then tomorrow there's
No
no
data.
data. But we have a way of rationing it and managing them, and making sure that we are able to go through the curriculum with the data that we provide. And so
Mm.
that works even for rural and peri-urban students, but it is a total disadvantage for them. The third thing is obviously devices. More
Mm.
and more, the smartphones are able to work for training, but the problem is that if you then are wanting to train people on international, or rather they need to do international exams post the training, the interface between a phone and a laptop is very different. And so they need somehow to transcend and say that now this is the laptop. So they might have the inherent knowledge and skills, but might not be able to then use the interface, and they then fail because they are struggling, not because they don't have the knowledge. So that's where we then intervene to make sure that they understand that, okay, now PC, this is how you do it. Yeah. And then the other thing that I'm thinking is that, we also need schools that are just really focused on technologies at that level. Really, just like you
I
have
support you
rugby.
there.
Yeah, you have
I
sports,
support you there.
rugby schools, you have those schools that focus on choirs and people singing and whatever, that they are well known for that. Some are well known for cricket. We need schools that are very good at technologies, and a variety of curriculum, not just coding. Can be drones, it can be cybersecurity, and build it into their system while they're still young. They grow with it, and so that they can be the specialists that we see in India and those type of countries.
Thank you. I want us to be relevant. It's as if you read my mind again. I was thinking that we've not mentioned any 4IR, the popular ones in our discussion. 4IR is an important acronym.
Yeah.
There must be a revolution. Now, when we look at the revolution, by the way, I don't believe in 4IR as a concept. I believe in society 5.0. Everything is society driven. We are advancing. Technology is advancing because humans are driving the advancement. It's for making us easy. It's for making our lives easy to interpret the lot of data that we're producing and all other aspects that make our lives complete. Anyway, it's a discussion for another day. 4IR, I think it's important for you to tell us, you've got robotics, you train on robotics, you've got IoT, you train on IoT, you've got data science, you train on data science, you've got AVR and AR, okay, let's just say extended reality. Do you train on extended reality? Because it is the future through gaming and through what do you call it, geo looking at areas, whatever the fancy language. Let's
Yeah.
go, yeah, spatial things. Do you train on those? I know cybersecurity is covered, but you train on all the others that AI, there's AI ethics questions. Are you in that space?
Yeah, no, definitely. So there's a few vendors that we are accredited with. The first one is Triple C, Cloud Computing Council, which
Okay.
has got a variety of those titles: AI, data science, data analytics, IoT, and so on and so on. So that's the first one that we are accredited with. Then we also accredited with CertNexus, which also has robotics and those other titles that you've mentioned. And so depending on who we are talking to and what is the need of the organization, then we look at that. And by the way, other vendors such as Microsoft have got AI. So again, it depends on which client we're talking to, and what do they want, and what are they going to use it for. Data analytics is also across the board. There is a lot of data analytics also in Oracle, also in SAP. And I think, look, to your earlier comment about the societies, that training must also be relevant. These things that we're training people on must make a difference. It's not to say train, go, and then go find a job. Or rather, once the skill is available, it has to make a difference either in society or in an organization or in government and so on. I mean, if you look at the number of files, I don't know. Let's just take. I've seen on TV. I've seen on TV the offices of SAP, South African Police Services, rooms and
Yes.
rooms full of
Documents.
documents and dockets. What does it? I mean, I think we're missing an opportunity to capture the data, analyze it, and understand what's going on in there, and so. And I'm guessing that will be across the board in government.
All the
But
government departments.
all government departments will have the same problem, whether and Home Affairs, of course. And I've heard the minister 2 weeks ago, they're hiring thousands of young people to capture documents and so that they can digitize them and so on and so on. So that's where we need to be going with these things. It cannot be just because it's a trend, it's for IR for no reason. It must make a difference to our lives. It must improve the quality of life, and so we're digitizing for a reason. We're not doing it because it's a skill that is fashionable and everybody says robotics. I mean, even robots serve a particular purpose. Those that I've seen in the stats that I think is it 17% of companies in South Africa, or are starting to entertain the idea of robots or implement robotics somehow as part of the value chain of their service.
Yes.
So for us, we like to do that, but we understand. I've seen that a lot of these technologies are adopted more by SMMEs more than big companies. We've been privileged to do some projects where we train SMMEs on some of these skills, and some of them have really come up with great innovative ideas that solve a particular problem. So one I think one that I came across, they put together a solution that looks for graveyards, like a geospatial thing.
Yes.
The grave sites, the ones that you had long time ago, we struggle, especially in the black townships and rural areas. That I know for a fact. That if your grave is not marked properly, you're gonna struggle to locate it. So they've come up with those solutions to locate. So, and then there's another one that other people have come up with that helps people who are drowning, or if you're blind or if you're deaf, there's other solutions and so on. So it is to solve a particular problem, and that's what we encourage, and so that we customize the solution and not just give you a blanket training.
One solution fits all. It does not work these days. It needs to be customized. It needs to be tailored to make sure that it fits. Yeah. No, I hear you. I've got so many things to ask you, and we don't have time. And this one I think is just as an emphasis from your side as a business, from NetCampus as a business, to address. We've talked about shortage of skills or scarcity of skills. To address skills shortfalls, what initiatives are you running with your OEM accreditation partners? That are specific, that are that are end goal driven, driven by an objective, and when that program finishes, that cohort goes and work. Hopefully, somewhere there's a program that is being running, not government recruiting 10,000 children that are not trained to go deal with documents. But we don't deal with politics. But what programs are there?
From our side, we have a number of modalities of how we deliver training. We've got a learner management system, that we provide, and an e-learning platform. We're also able to customize content or create content. So if, for instance, you are wanting to train your people in your organization on your systems, processes, and products, we are able to do that. We're able to provide a schedule on all those OEMs that I spoke about. People can go train just on a schedule, but we also have learnerships, internships, and skills programs that we customize against all those vendor certifications that you saw. And so if you know very well that every OEM will have its channel, and that channel needs skills that will allow them to do the work, to be accredited in that space, but also go look for business in that space. So we customize our programs to be very relevant to the workplace, and not the other way around. So we don't do vanilla type of unit standard based things that are not talking to the employer. So it's really around mappings, and it's really around being innovative around how do you match the SAQA regulated stuff, with what the employer wants, and also adding international global exams to that, because when we produce people, we must also think global. We're not producing people just for South Africa. The borders are diminishing and diminishing very, very quickly. People can work, as I said, they can service clients from anywhere in the world. But the point is, those clients will want to see a standard. And a standard at the moment is that international certification, that they know that you are qualified here. You are exactly this. You have exactly the same skills with somebody in America, UK, and so on. So I think then the point that I'm making is that it's important to know the demand and train for that demand, either for a specific client or a specific need, because there is certain skills that we know if we pump those skills, those people are likely to be employed. It might be in a month or 6 to 8 weeks, but definitely they will be employed. And then there's those that they will be employed, but it will be more of a more in-depth skill. So there must be more at an expert level. There is jobs there, but it's not entry-level jobs, if you know what I mean.
I understand.
Yeah. So that's what we do. We also have a portal that we have called Net Skills Match that has the demands. It matches the demand and the supply of skills. On one side, it's the people looking for jobs. On the other side, it's the people who are looking to recruit, and provide that. We don't make money out of it, but because we produce the product that is looking for a job, we feel it's ethical for us to make sure that ultimately they get into jobs, to also prove the fact that the quality that we have produced is in demand. We must show that what we produced is really in demand, and it's not to fill up our pockets only.
I hear you. You've touched on telemigration, which I was going to ask you. There's an increase of people serving the other industries, or other countries or continents from South Africa.
Yeah.
Do you think that it needs a special breed of people that have been trained, mentored to be able to do that? Do you think institutions like yourselves must run a program like, when you presented, you not only are you offering digital skills, but you're also offering project management skills. I suppose to be able to be disciplined to sit on your own at home and telemigrate every morning at 8 o'clock, or when America starts at 3 o'clock in the afternoon until early hours, you need a special skill. Do you think we need to start training our young ones on how to deal and be disciplined to work across borders or across oceans?
Yeah. No, definitely. Look, we have a responsibility and a duty to open their minds and expose them to other things. Because the world has changed. If it's really not about going somewhere, and when you go and work, it must be daylight. We do have colleagues who don't live in South Africa. Our day and night for them is totally different. But we are finding ways to make it work, because it's all in the mind. And so while it's important to deliver and make sure that we stick to schedules and so on, but we owe it to our kids to open their mind, to make sure that they understand what it means to be not in South Africa. The world is not South Africa. There's a bigger world, and there's more opportunities, in fact, in Africa as well. So yeah, I'm totally open-minded to that. But yeah, we will be able to do that. Yeah.
I think we are running out of time, and I need to ask this one because this also is one of the important aspects in the development of youth. There are, and I'm told through reading different papers and talking to people, that children, there's that thing in the rural areas or in the underdeveloped areas where a child is got mental issues and they say, lo mntana udom, whereas if an intervention was done or undertaken, then that child would improve and be stable and be able to cope. In your environment, have you guys come across the mental stability thing, challenges that these children, they come and enroll, but something is not right either at home or something is not right with the child? And have you noticed that, or you've not?
No, we notice it. And in fact, we notice it all the time. One of the things that we deal with that, the way we deal with that, is that we have project managers on the ground to be very close to anyone who is on our program. Because look, sometimes it's not because they have mental issues. They might have family, social, society issues. And the financial issue is the biggest one, where even if they get a stipend, they must, first of all, if they didn't have a stipend, they wouldn't be able to come to class. And so even when they do, that very stipend is going to be used to support family at home. Then there's the issue of family being sick, and this person is taking care of the mom or the dad or the siblings. Those are reality issues. But if you don't understand the situation for this child, you're going to judge, and you're going to condemn them. So it's important. And what we do, we also look at the trends. If we see that they are not attending class, because we have class registers, daily class registers, then we see that there's a problem here. And then we have the conversation. What is going on? Who are you staying with? What is the problem? Because if you don't address or support them fully, they're likely not to be successful in the program. So it's very important to give support through project managers, through what we call case managers, who are basically, trained to have
they're counselors.
Yes, they're counselors. And so that's what we do. Yeah, we have to. And then there's those, of course, that have issues, but then we will deal with it from an academic point of view and make sure that they at least we move them to something that they can cope with.
So can you see why there is a problem with grade training? Because they were not going to have counselors and care for the mental stability of the children, and understand holistically who the child is and what makes the child tick. Yeah. So, it is, and I wanted to address that because I come across it a lot. out there, and I've had first-hand experience dealing with youth because PICTA deals with youth, and you can tell that they need attention and urgent attention. Then they're normal.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot. I think let's deal with this one as NetCampus 1.0. Maybe if you commit to come back 2.0, there's other issues that we need to address. University TVET versus institutions like NetCampus, where because of the speed of change, or requirement of a different type of skills, which I think in the near future, it's going to happen every 6 to 12 months. Are they really still, I don't want to say not relevant, are they agile enough to turn around like you would do as an institution like NetCampus? So there are things like those that I want us still to discuss. Then we've got, for me, it is important also to discuss further what needs to be done, or suggestions that we can have and discuss it and see how people respond to children at high school, what needs to be done. From a PICTA perspective, we've adopted a school that we are actually raising some sponsorship to give them connectivity and to give them computers. And you did address that corporates give computers without giving the support in terms of maintenance and endpoint solutions, which is formerly antivirus. And corporates must not tick a box. They need, I think, corporates must partner with institutions like yours, where you are able to make the environment ready to receive the devices.
Yes.
And they need refresher. The same environment needs to have you in the same ecosystem, so that every 12 months you can go refresh and make sure that these people are up to speed and they're running the latest versions. They've updated their software, all the things that are necessary to be done to make it work for the African child in those areas. So there's things that I want us to discuss. Those things, I'm just touching on them as we go, maybe NetCampus 2.0. And from PICTA side, I think I need to ask you to give a parting shot. It's always good to give a parting shot. Then we'll go on a jingle. Then we'll go offline and we can have a 2-minute talk.
Great. No, thank you. Look, I think I appreciate the platform, because I know it's really not only about South Africa. Your PICTA is also established throughout the continent, and so we need to partner. We need to ensure that we establish strong partnerships, and I'm hoping through platforms like these we will start to identify partners that we can who have similar beliefs, similar strategies, similar outlook, and we can partner with them. So I'm thankful for that. But also, I think we will be able to talk offline around how we can partner with PICTA specifically, not other people, around the programs that we're running, and your people that are either your members or the ones that you are touching their lives. There's always an opportunity to partner. I'm always looking out for those type of projects, so that we can make a difference in those. So yeah, very happy to partner on those levels. And I'm looking forward to 2.0 as well, by the way.
2.0.
Yeah.
2.0 is guaranteed, really guaranteed. It depends on how available you are. And I think people are have been energized by your discussion, so they're looking forward to 2.0. Let me go on a jingle, then I can come back and say goodbye. Then me and you can have a chat. To listeners today and listeners that are going to watch this video, we must thank you for joining us today. Memahatu, Debza, as I fondly calls you. Thank you very much for coming through. For me, it is. I think it's a good thing talking to you, and I must say you've done very well. I applaud you. You've done very well in the space, and I believe and I trust, with God on your side, you are going to multiply NetCampus in other areas in other countries. But and to everyone, thank you very much. I'm going to talk to you in 2 seconds.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks to your listeners as well.
Thank you to everyone.